Hello and welcome to Buddhist Store Global's weekly news highlight. I'm Dr. Justin Whitaker, Senior Correspondent for BDG. This week we highlight Buddhist responses to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We'll have a look back at recent BDG coverage of Buddhism and peace, but first the news. The rapid incursion into Ukraine by Russia's military forces has shocked the world. As I record this, we mark the third day of Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion. Global media are reporting massive explosions rocking cities across the country, including the capital, Kyiv, where terrified residents have attempted to flee or huddled for safety in shelters and subway stations. According to reports, Russia's military movements toward Kyiv have already resulted in death or injury for hundreds of defending Ukrainians. Meanwhile, in cities across Russia, thousands of people have taken to the streets protesting against Putin's decision to wage war, and many hundreds of demonstrators have been arrested. With a population in excess of 41 million, Ukraine is a spiritually and ethnically diverse nation. Data for 2018 indicated that 71% of the population identified as Christian, with 67% affiliated with the Orthodox Church. Islam accounted for 2.5%, Judaism for 0.4%, and smaller percentages for Buddhists, Hindus, and pagans. Buddhism has had a presence in Ukraine since the 19th century, and later immigration, notably from Vietnam and Korea, has bolstered that presence to an estimated 0.1% of the population today. The following are a few responses from spiritual figures and communities around the world. Some are public statements of dismay and calls for sanity, while others are more spontaneous and visceral expressions of sorrow at the inevitable suffering to follow. The American Zen teacher and civil rights activist Roshi Joan Halifax, abbot and guiding teacher of Upaya Zen Center in Santa Fe, New Mexico on Friday, shared her shock in a social media post simply stating, "Awakened at 2 from a nightmare of war to a nightmare of war. I am completely shaken by what is happening in the Ukraine and in our country, and of course more." His Holiness the Karmapa, Orjin Chrinli Dorje, posted the following statement to social media. Quote, "When I was in India, people from the Ukraine would come and visit me regularly. I was particularly impressed by their love for peace. They were eagerly seeking how to calm their minds and live compassionately and peacefully without harming others. I consider all these people to be my friends. I was very saddened and shocked to hear the news today of the conflict in Ukraine. The difficulties and suffering that the people of Ukraine are now facing is unimaginable. My thoughts and prayers are with them at this time. I ask everyone to join with me in praying for those involved in this conflict, that this terrible situation may be resolved swiftly, and that peace and harmony may be restored." Vajrayana teacher, author, and founder of the Dongyu Gatsa Ling Nunnery in Himachal Pradesh, India, Jetsunma Tenzin Palmo, shared a message of interconnection and liberation from suffering, saying, quote, "The suffering of people is really beyond imagination. However, with suffering comes strength. I also hope that they rely on their innate goodness. I hope that people can help each other and be in solidarity with each other in this very difficult situation. Everybody has to take care of each other and help each other, because if you don't help each other, who will help you? And really, this is the time to show inner strength, not just as a member of a religion or an ethnic group, but show your unity as a human being. Those who are suffering need each other's help and care to stay strong. That's what it's all about, sticking together and helping each other in these difficult times." From Ladakh in northern India, the renowned spiritual leader and socially engaged Buddhist monk Venerable Bhikkhu Sangasena, founder of the Mahabodhi International Meditation Center, observed in a public statement which read in part, "What can we simple people do? We can only offer our faithful prayers. Please pray for an early peaceful resolution to the Ukraine and Russia conflict." Nichiren Xu, a Japanese Buddhist order and one of the largest schools of Nichiren Buddhism, shared their official statement on Friday, saying, quote, "As a Buddhist religious organization, Nichiren Xu strongly condemns the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Several deaths have already been reported by the media, and we cannot help but worry that the situation may spiral into a deep crisis. Using warfare to solve a political problem must never be tolerated. We follow the teachings of the Buddha and the Lotus Sutra and uphold the spiritual teachings of our founder Nichiren Xu to bow in respect to all life and strive to spread peace throughout the world. We strongly oppose all acts of war and strongly request that this invasion be terminated immediately by peaceful dialogue and pray for everlasting peace in the world. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Buddhist teacher, author, and founder of the Tara Mandala, a retreat center in southwest Colorado, Lama Soltrum Alion raised a call to practice in response to the invasion and explained the significance of the mantra of the Tara emanation who stops wars, saying, quote, "Call to practice. We are immediately launching a Sutra Campaign in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine." As the world looks on in horror and prays to an end to conflict, we are reminded of the words of the recently passed Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, who said, "We often think of peace as the absence of war. We often think of peace as the absence of war. That if powerful countries would reduce their weapon arsenals, we could have peace. But if we look deeply into the weapons, we see our own minds, our own prejudices, fears, and ignorance. Even if we transport all the bombs to the moon, the roots of war and the roots of bombs are still there in our hearts and minds, and sooner or later we will make new bombs. To work for peace is to uproot war from ourselves and from the hearts of men and women. To prepare for war, to give millions of men and women the opportunity to practice killing day and night in their hearts, is to plant millions of seeds of violence, anger, frustration, and fear that will be passed on for generations to come. As always, we'll have links to this week's main news story and recent coverage of Buddhism and calls for peace in the video description below. Use the comments to let us know what you think Buddhists can contribute to peace in Ukraine and in the world. And as always, be sure to check out our website, buddhiststore.net, for more on this story, as well as other news and features about Buddhism around the world.